Plot-driven games provide an easy path for gamers to learn lessons from. The grooves of the themes and motifs frequently aren't as camouflaged with the grain as they are in great works of fiction like Jane Eyre or The Things They Carried, so chopping off some life lesson or vital chip of philosophy from the lumber is a lesser challenge. Many people rely on being offered a lesson to accept rather than seeking one themselves. Even in games unintended to offer wisdom, wisdom can still be found, just like anything else in life. Even games with no explicit morals provide practical and tangible benefits and, in the right brain, can be more didactic than plot-driven games. See, their crutch is often their primary appeal. Utilizing a plot makes a game more engaging, but only superficially. It's merely something to follow, like a line of candy serially laid on the ground to sufficiently sustain your interest. Only sufficiently. The systems that underpin this, including the mechanics, rules, rewards, and inputs, perversely serve for the story, which isn't necessarily pernicious, but that doesn't make a good practice either. Creating a game whose primary appeal is its system allows the devs, or rather forces them, to hone that system to the point of it being independently fulfilling. I must add, the game need not be something so obviously a system like Defense Grid. I consider Yoshi's Island a game of systems because despite its cute atmosphere, it doesn't progress the player by advancing the plot. Some people may find diving for life lessons in unlikely places of their own volition about as easy as eating vanilla ice cream in a white bowl in a dark room, but that makes it no less fulfilling and important to cognitive development. Although intelligence has an argued definition, I think a fair approximate definition is applying learned knowledge, implementing information that could have otherwise been left unused to accomplish tasks and plan. Everything in this world is somehow seated in a system of some sort, from the atomic level to international economic transactions. All games are systems. The more games one plays, the greater amount and variety of systems one's familiar with, creating a better understanding of the world. Just like practicing pieces on your instrument makes you better at playing more pieces, and cooking more dishes makes you better at cooking dishes, interacting with and coming to understand systems makes you better at understanding systems. This can work explicitly as well. You won't always discover a new system, whether it be the biological functioning of a cell, social engagements, or game theory, and think, oh, I learned about how this works in insert game here, so I'm familiar with this already. But your neural pathways will be primed such that learning the intricacies of whatever this novel system is comes much easier. Learning mathematics has a similar application. An unjustly large amount of people, at least Americans, view learning high-level mathematics as useless given a student doesn't want to be a physicist. At minimum, this portrays a misunderstanding of why we must learn math. It activates different parts of the brain important to cranial development, crucial during childhood and adolescence. But its purpose remains in arm's reach throughout adulthood. It primes the brain for creative thinking, which every domain of life benefits from. Even if you think of a dry job like accounting, the enhanced ability to think abstractly will allow the accountant to automate a process in a peculiar way that none of her progenitors or supervisors yet implemented, increasing efficiency, or find shortcuts in I don't know, money? I don't know what accountants do. Nevertheless, this mathematics analogy is a direct one-to-one analogy to learning systems via games. It's partly why games of all kinds, not just the video persuasion, appeal to children so universally. Though unacknowledged, they learn about the world this way. They learn the niches of social exchanges and rule application, and all of these systems vital to their development and operation as an adult. With such a broad use of the word system, I ought to be more specific with what one actually is. Apparently, the thermodynamicist Nicolas Carnot introduced the concept of a system with a steam engine in 1824. But systems have existed since the beginning of the universe, and absurdly, I will go there. When the universe's first particles became unbalanced and started coalescing, it was their gravity and angular momentum that brought us what we have, and really what we are today. A system is merely a group of interactions interdependent on one another. Anyway, what's the difference between a robust and a flawed system in the context of games? Well, the sign of a robust system is one in which it explores an uncommon or unconventional field of cognitive reasoning, forcing one to apply rules in a way one hasn't before, and problem solving as a result. Conversely, a flawed one produces results or conclusions incongruent with the logic of the rules. There's a famous logical fallacy that encapsulates this idea well under the name of false premise. It's a fallacy in which a conclusion is drawn from an incorrect premise or premises. For example, one would be, I've been peeing frequently recently, so I've been drinking plenty of water. I use this example because although it is a logical conclusion, the premise is necessarily false. You could have a urinary tract infection, or be pregnant, or have diabetes. That's what an unscrupulous system does. An unscrupulous system gets you stuck in a game, and once you get unstuck, you pronounce, how was I supposed to know that? Why? The conclusion ran contrary to the rules by which it was supposed to abide. A well-built system, by the way, need not be complex. Something like Sudoku is quite well constructed, but it's extraordinarily simple. So simple, in fact, that if you can count your fingers, given you were born with the proper quantity, you can play this game right out of the tin. But why then even make a good game? If learning a system is intrinsically beneficial, why make a good system to learn? Both good and bad systems are equally as valid and useful, yes? If a player is learning a system regardless, why expend the time, money, and energy making a good one? A well-built system will fulfill 3 primary benefits. 1. It will cognitively engage the player more deeply because they're expending more of their attention, willpower, and critical faculties in progressing through the game. 2. It will enhance the player experience by creating smooth gameplay because each step of a task follows logically from the one before and leads logically to the next. 3. It will nurture trust in the player such that the player harbors a high perception of reliability, important to introducing new concepts, rules, and mechanics. But all of this is about how system in games offers skills for real-world application, which it does in a few ways. It instills confidence. Overcoming challenges that attack a mental and technical ability offers the player solace that he can overcome challenges in all aspects of life, which leads to increased openness to novel challenges. If your boss issues you an onerous task that you've never had to do before, you might think back on your naked run of Dark Souls and instead of becoming timid, tell yourself, if I can do that, I can take on what my boss is telling me to do. Openness to new experience is a highly valuable trait to have, and I think it would benefit you to read about it. Check the description for the Wikipedia article. Whether the game features a puzzle or some other brain scratcher, games what's primary appeal is their systems will likely require highly cerebral abilities like the ability to adapt, plan for the future, and manage resources. Combining these mental requirements results in one's need to tolerate challenges and failure. Games mustn't have a compelling story, or any story at all, to contain potential for some kind of benefit. Take solace in what you experience and attempt to learn something from all experiences, irrespective of how trivial they might seem at the time or in retrospect. If some kind of lesson or moral is being brutally driven down your esophagus like the stake of a tent does into the ground, and you must extract meanings yourself, not only will the realizations be more potent, but also more rewarding. And you'll possibly ponder on it more so than you otherwise would have because it was your own realization, not a foreign didact targeted at you.